Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and this is the Wiha Bit. So this is just the first impressions. I have had this since yesterday, and pretty impressed. This is the package it came in, sticker, wipe, and this goes in a box. But always nice packaging from Wiha. This was about $230 or something like that, right around that price. We have an orange peeled titanium frame lock. Now this peeling is a lot smoother than I thought. It's different than this one. This one's a little more textured, a little more heavier. This one's definitely, I feel it, but it's pretty slick. It's pretty smooth. I like the darkened titanium hardware. And we have a titanium spring clip that is a deep carry with nothing in the way. Heavy milling on this guy too. If you guys can see it, lots of milling on the inside of this. Definitely has a really good weight to it. Now this also comes in a carbon fiber version. It is basically a spear point blade shape. This is a LACONICO design, if you didn't know that already. Wiha does a lot of, well, LACONICO is popular, period. But they've done, a bunch of LACONICO designs among lots of other companies. So this one has thumb stud action and front flipping action. Now, this action is super smooth. So if you've ever felt Teflon washers that are completely broken in and ultra smooth, that's the way this feels on the opening. It's very satisfying to slow roll this because it's so smooth. It also has a really cool sound to it. I'll get into the acoustics here in a second, but also you can just do a regular thumb flick or a reverse flick. The thumb studs are very easy to get to. The drop is very smooth. I guess that would be the one difference from the Teflon, even though Teflon washers that are extremely broken in are actually very drop shutty. This one is just so silky smooth. The front flipper works really good. This is a great size for front flipping. I can do the wrap around right there. I can do the reach around. It's very easy to deploy it. Now the jimping isn't my favorite kind of jimping for front flippers. However, the way the detent is tuned, it winds up working out just fine. And also the size of the knife, because I can kind of get to the front flipper. That was my fault. The front flipper, no matter how I'm gripping the knife, pretty easily, because it's in that happy medium range. It's not a real big knife. Here's just really quick, a Spyderco Pm2. You can see it is, quite a bit smaller than the PM2, but it's got a nice depth here and thickness. So very comfortable in the hand, even with the deep carry clip. It just works out really good. It feels really nice in the hand. The spear point or drop point blade, whatever you want to call it, has a nice swedge, has a nice satin finish. It's 20 CV steel. You can see the satin finish on it. Nice belt satin finish. We have another swedge up here that's really nice. Gets down to a nice keen edge. The choil on it looks well done. You can see the plunger end starts here and ends right here. They did give you quite a bit to sharpen out. Now, the thumb studs, they are nice. I mean, the texture is nice. They're nice and comfortable. And if, like I said, man, this slow roll is super comfortable to do. Now, the lock bar access, it is, I think, slightly proud, but not by much. So that could be a little bit better, but it's not bad at all. Like it's not something I would ever put into a bad or anything, because I can technically come from the side. I just got to kind of push my finger in the front as well. It did come perfectly centered. It is a little off right now, but I've been flipping it and playing with it, so I'm gonna have to reset it. So I guess some people might consider that a negative because people don't like to mess with their knives. Now, it's not scraping or anything like that, and it's barely off. But it did come out of the box perfectly centered. you know, and there's no play or anything, any direction. It is very solid. It is very silky. That is one thing I notice about this, just right off the bat. It's very silky. The texture is very silky. The action is very silky. The pocket clip in and out of the pocket is really nice. Excellent pocket clip. I know a lot of people look at this and say, oh, well, it looks like a budget clip. Because if you look at Wiha's clips, you know, their budget, because this is the Civivi Keen Natter. And if you look at it, the clip is very similar to this one. This is just titanium. This is steel. So, yeah, there are similarities to it. But you can't overlook the fact that this thing works incredibly well. It is a very, very useful clip. The ramp is good in and out of the pocket. Very similar to like an aftermarket Spyderco clip or something. But I know a lot of people for this type of money want to see a clip like this where it's just a titanium milled clip as long as they work good. And they do have some really good clips that work very well that are titanium milled. But to get them deep carry, these work the best. I mean, you can't deny that this works incredibly well. So I don't have no complaints about this clip. I think it looks fine. I think it looks good, and it's super duper functional. And the next thing, in the hand, it is this one in particular, because a lot of times these deep carry clips, they're up a little too proud. This little part really gets you in the hand, but this one is so smooth right here that in my hand it just doesn't bother it. The spine is not crowned at all. And there's really no jimping besides the front flipper. Everything else is, you know, like I said, silky. But I guess I feel this jimping slightly, but it doesn't do anything. It really doesn't, because my hands go over the top. And, yeah, I can tell. I haven't cut anything yet, so I don't want to speak ahead. But I know my geometry pretty well. This is going to cut good. And it's got that kind of grind that's super slicey, yet not fragile. It's not a hollow grind. It is a flat grind, but great geometry. And even though it is a saber grind, where the grind starts right here instead of all the way up to the top, meaning it's not a full flat grind. It starts about, 3/4 of the way up the blade. It's nice and thin behind the edge, so you can see the tip here. The tip is not dainty, but it's also not thick. So it's going to be a precise tip. The blade shape's really good. The length of the handle, because you see how it swells down right here, is really good for getting these type of grips or the push cuts or regular slicing. This is going to be a very, very good working EDC knife, because it's going to be just slicey enough for your slicey tasks, yet tough enough to take on whatever. Now, if I look in the right light, I thought this was you can kind of see it right there. Okay, so I'm going to kind of tilt this thing a little bit, and I want you to look at the scales. It almost looks like there's like stripes going down it. Can I get it in the right light? It might be just to my naked. Maybe you can kind of see it there. See how there's like stripes a little bit? I can see that with my naked eye when I tilt it. Oh, you see it right there. See how there's like stripes? Now, I don't see it if I'm just looking at it like this, or at least not really. I'm guessing that's just from the machining. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or anything. I was just kind of pointing it out. But it does have an over travel stop, steel lock bar insert. Oh yeah, the sound. So this thing has a really cool sound. There we go. Sometimes it has a really loud pop. Yeah. Very cool sound when it closes and opens. It's got a real nice sounding lockup. You can really tell that it's locked up. I like the sound. I find it very addicting, especially with that slow roll. You can really hear the locking gauge, and then when it closes, you can hear that clunk. But there you guys go. That's my first impression. Sorry it was a little longer. I'm liking it a lot though. So the review will be coming soon, guys. Love you guys. Peace.